Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe by the end of this movie. We've been talking about the big banks and how they are approving of crypto. Back on the 29th, there was a great post on X from the Bitcoin.com news site that talked about how more than 5,000 banks just got the go-ahead to get into crypto because the FDIC flipped the switch, letting banks get into digital assets without needing to get permission first. This isn't just a change to the rules. From being careful for the last 3 years, this is a huge U-turn. Right now, both the FDIC and the OCC agree that crypto should be a big part of the US's banking system. Banks can now build anything they want, from security to stablecoins to blockchain operations. The FDIC and the OCC are working on a whole new plan for how to handle crypto. Is the US about to take the lead in the next wave of crypto finance? You all know that I've been very loud about how the banks are getting the go-ahead and will soon offer crypto-based services to their customers. This is going to be the big push on mass adoption because formal mass adoption is getting bigger. Institutions start providing their services to their clients as soon as they are on-chain and in this space. It doesn't matter how many customers they have. Well, hundreds of millions of people have used these banks and the project is happening all over the world. However, I have to say that rules are still a big problem, even after writing this post. All the problems are getting solved, but there is still one big problem: rules. Now, a big shout out to Smoke Dog, because he did say that one by one, all the rules that were stopping the crypto business from being widely used are being taken away. This is the way to make regulations clear. We have all of the important ones here. This is basically the full breakdown of the policy that was stopping banks from getting involved in crypto. These rules and instructions should be thrown out or greatly changed. Yes, and these are the ones that were issued by the FRB, the OCC, and the FDIC. They were issued by the FRB, the OCC, and the FDIC together. This is everything that the big banks don't like about crypto. And getting rid of or greatly changing this advice is just the first and most important thing that needs to be done to help the US become a leader in the digital assets and financial technology ecosystems. Seriously though, these are all big steps toward clearer rules when we think about what's going on here. A little at a time, we're making progress toward having 100% clear regulations, which will lead to growth in the space. What do I mean by that? What does that mean? It means that this technology is being widely adopted, not by individuals but by large institutions that deal with individuals. This will lead to a huge number of people who will buy, sell, trade, and lock up assets. It's trillions and trillions of dollars on a chain that moves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And rules are the first step. In the past, I've always made it clear that rules are a big help. Everything we've talked about so far, like how prices will change or how big these projects could be, starts with rules. This is on top of a great post from the Digital Assets Summit 2025. As expected, the biggest problem for crypto has always been regulation. It's not fixed yet, but there is hope and a way forward. So whether I'm saying out loud or when to be honest, people in the Middle East, some parts of Asia, and even some parts of Europe are a little less sure. Those are the things I've seen happen, but there are times when I feel like risking more. The sell right now is that your ceiling is pretty much endless. It's Kavu ceiling and visibility is endless, as the Navy says. You have that now, so you can move people off of zero. You can let someone in. Today it's a lot easier to get rid of crisp plans than it was 3 or 4 years when I am. So yeah, listen, the legal side of things has always been a big problem. We can already see this change coming. It's been really big, especially in the last few months, maybe even just the last 3 months, to do with rules and regulations. The meetings, talks, and even the SEC Crypto Task Force are moving so quickly on a lot of things that will make this possible. That makes me very happy. We also look at Ripple and the case between Ripple and the SEC. And now a big thank you to Anderson for this. A lot of folks think this case is over, but we are still looking into one thing: sales to institutions. We have here, can't wait for the Ripple versus SEC case to end so Bank of America can rest easy. How Bank of America works with Ripple. We now know that Ripple and, Bank of America has worked together for a long time. This actually shows that Ripple has been forming relationships with a lot of big banks around the world. They do list all of them. But in April 2020 there was a partnership with Bank of America. Jolie Harris, who is in charge of global banking at Bank of America, revealed this on an episode of the bank's Treasury Insights podcast. She said that Bank of America wants to give its customers the freedom to do business at any time and from anywhere by adding new tools. Along with Swift, she named Ripple as one of the bank's most important partners. Also, reports of a close relationship have been going around for a long time, with new hints coming up all the time. For instance, CEO Brad Garlinghouse is said to have said at the Ripple Summit 2022 conference that Bank of America would have an edge over its competitors if it used Ripple's on-demand liquidity offering once the lawsuits with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission are over. Now, this isn't the only time we've heard that Bank of America is ready for changes in the rules, but once more the most important thing we're waiting for is for the SEC to lift the ban. This means that Ripple will be able to sell to big buyers again. There is no news about this and no time given for it. But this is something we're really focused on, because this is pretty much the last big thing that needs to be done to clear up this case. But as I already said, this isn't the only time we've heard Bank of America talk about how they might offer crypto services or get really into crypto. This is from the CEO of Bank of America back in January. It's called Big Shot to Riz XRP. Look it over. For that reason, I believe the banking system will join if it gets governmental approval, which it didn't have before. This is one of the problems. There are already a lot of patents on blockchain. We know how to get into the field. Yeah, I mean, these big banks have been getting ready for a long time. We are looking at what will happen next now that some of the problems have been solved. Even here in the United States, Bank of America plans to start the USDPEG crypto stablecoin if the government passes a bill. There will definitely be a stablecoin that is fully backed by the dollar. It's the same as having a bank account. It's pretty clear that there will be a stablecoin that is backed by only dollars. That's the same as a money market fund, and lets you write checks is the same as a bank account. So we'll start that business if they make it legal. You'll have a BAS Bank of America coin and a US dollar deposit. We'll be able to move them back and forth, which we haven't been able to do before because it's against the law. It's been done like any other foreign cash. It will be interesting to find out what it can be used for. That's all there is to it. We also know that Bank of America could use stablecoins as the next big thing, even around the XRP system. Why do I say that? Because it's already taking place. On these public blockchains like the XRP system, big banks like Societe Generale are already putting out stablecoins. We knew this in November. It was reported that it would be coming out this year. What's even stranger are the facts. The truth is that banks are very excited about using crypto assets and networks, such as the XRP system and XRP. Thanks a lot, Anderson. Have you ever thought about why banks would use XRP and other cryptocurrencies? I think the biggest myth is that banks are afraid that Bitcoin and other crypto assets will take over their business. They're really scared that big tech will take over, and global transfers play a big role in that. In the video below, Larsson says that big tech will take over banks if they don't change to use new cutting-edge technology and payments. He said this in 2017 and was very smart because Facebook later launched their Libra project in 2019. Facebook is one of the 8 big tech companies he talks about in the video. Libra failed in the end because of rules, but he says it will take time for rules to be sorted out. When they do, though, banks should really be scared. People should know that more than 3 billion people use Facebook every month. That's more than 37% of the world's people. These numbers of users are way too high for any bank to even come close. Facebook can also quickly adopt new technologies, which is very different from traditional banks, which move very slowly and are very cautious. Imagine that Facebook gave billions of users a digital wallet that let them send and receive money quickly and almost for free. But it's not just Facebook. Elon has said that X could take over half of the world's banking system, which we know. In other words, banks will have to get with the times when new technology comes out or get left behind. The fears of central banks are the same. They don't want big tech to control how money moves around the world without their permission. So they have no choice but to work with fintech companies that can make it much easier for them to accept payments, especially cross-border payments, and build and improve other financial products like DeFi, etc. Could the banks just make private chains instead of